Your CPA called, the return's done, it's ready to file, and you owe a balance due of, wait, what? You owe how much? The balance due may seem absolutely impossible to handle right now, but don't let your heart be troubled. You do have options. You don't have to steal from the bank, borrow from dad. You can get an installment agreement. But the question becomes, how long does the installment agreement run? How do you apply? And what do you need in order to establish an installment agreement with the IRS? I'm Jim Flauaus. I'm an enrolled agent authorized by the federal government to represent taxpayers before the IRS. The installment agreement rules are different for individual income tax accounts than they would be for business entity accounts or payroll tax accounts. Now, that being said, if you are self-employed, a sole proprietor, or a single member LLC, you're really considered an individual taxpayer. Those business interests that you have are not filed on a separate business entity return form. They're filed on a Schedule C. So the rules for individual tax accounts apply in your case. The time you have to pay back the amount that you owe to the IRS is largely determined by how much the balance due is. And the process for setting up the installment agreement also has a lot to do with the balance that you owe. So what if you owe the IRS $10,000 or less? And doesn't that sound like a familiar number, since it's what is screamed on all of the national tax relief ads? The reason is, setting up a payment plan is relatively easy, and there's not a lot of landmines that you can fall into if you decide to do this on your own. There's a 3-year payment plan available if you owe $10,000 or less. So what'll that work out to? If you owe 10 grand, 3 years, it's going to be about a $300 to $350 payment, really depending on interest rates. 80% of taxpayers in this situation can set the payment agreement up right online. No need to call the IRS, no need to disclose any kind of financial details, and is guaranteed to be accepted as long as you haven't gone down this road any time in the last 3 years. Now, do realize if you can't afford a $300 payment, there is another option available. I would recommend you apply for not collectible status when you call into the IRS. Not collectible status will put your account on hold because if you had to make the payment, it would negatively impact the health and welfare of your family. Federal law prohibits the IRS from collecting if, in fact, the payment is going to create hardship on the family. About 40% of taxpayers who get into the IRS collection division get not collectible status. What if you owe more than $10,000 but less than $50,000? Instead of a short-term agreement of 3 years, you have a long-term installment agreement of 6 years. The beauty of a payment plan for under $50,000 is you don't have to disclose any financial information. That's why it's called a streamlined agreement. The process is streamlined. Yet, even though the process is simple, the payments may not be. I mean, just do the math. If you owe $50,000 over 6 years, you're looking at a payment in the $800 range. And here's the problem with an $800 payment. I've done the math over and over again with countless taxpayers in multiple states. And the fact is, the average American household with a family of 4 can't afford an $800 payment to the IRS after they've made reasonable payments for food, clothing, housing, transportation, healthcare, and so on. Even using the IRS local and national standards for living costs, there's not $800 left over at the end of the month. In these cases, an installment agreement makes absolutely no sense. Sure, it takes the IRS off your back. You get to pay monthly, but can you afford the payments? Don't rush into an installment agreement. You know, you got into this tax problem because there was something about your finances that just wasn't adding up. Now it's worthless to add more stress to your financial situation by blindly agreeing to a monthly payment plan that is done and comes to a monthly payment amount based on IRS math. What's IRS math? Whatever you owe divided by 72 months or 6 years. That's IRS math that may not work for your finances. You'd be smarter to retain a tax professional to help you work out a partial pay plan or gain non-collectible status, as I mentioned before. Or there's even a third option, which would be to submit an offer in compromise, where you make an offer to the IRS based on your income and your expenses and your equity in your home and other assets that you own. It's a formula, but if you run the formula and you qualify, you could actually settle with the IRS for less than you owe. Do be aware, national tax relief companies dangle this offer and compromise carrot in front of anybody and everybody who calls into their toll-free number. Why? Because it's the pennies on the dollar solution that every taxpayer dreams about, but very few actually qualify. The truth is, last year there were 24 million installment agreements put into place, but 29,000 offers in compromise. In fact, about 1% of all collection cases are actually resolved through an offer in compromise. So, is it possible? Oh, heck yes. We've had offers in compromise accepted both with the IRS and at the state levels, where we save taxpayers tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Possible, yes. Probable, no. But keep in mind, there's other options besides getting into an installment agreement that you can't afford, and that's the main message in this video. Here's the bottom line. It really is possible to resolve your tax problem, to clean up your tax mess. It's taken you some time to get into it, so it may not take overnight to get out of it, but it's certainly possible. There's many programs available. It's just a question of knowing what's available and what you qualify for. If you have questions about installment agreements or other issues with the IRS, contact me. You'll see my email and my phone number below in the information provided beneath this video. I'm here to remove the fear and the confusion around your IRS matter and replace it with clarity and control about your tax matter that'll give you peace of mind going forward. If this was helpful, please hit the like button. Also subscribe so that we can continue to get tax tips in front of you to help you in dealing with the IRS. That's it for this time. Hey, we'll see you next time.